Failure hurts. It shakes your confidence, questions your worth, and makes you wonder if you were ever meant to succeed. But what if everything you believe about failure is wrong? What if the very moments you regret the most are actually the moments shaping your greatest breakthrough? Every successful person you admire has failed, often more times than they've succeeded. The difference is not talent, luck, or intelligence. It's how they responded to failure. Stay with me until the end, because today you'll discover how failure isn't the end of your story. It's the foundation of your success. 1. Redefine what failure really means. To truly understand growth, one must first dismantle the societal architecture of shame that surrounds the word failure. From a young age, we are conditioned to view mistakes as static marks on a transcript, permanent stains that indicate a lack of intelligence or capability. This cultural conditioning creates a fixed mindset, where every error feels like a final verdict on our worth. However, the most successful individuals in history view failure through a completely different lens. They see it not as a wall, but as a directional signpost. When you shift your perspective, you realize that failure is actually a vital sign. It is the pulse of progress. If you aren't failing, it's a strong indicator that you are playing it safe within the boundaries of what you already know, which is the literal definition of stagnation. Redefining failure requires us to look at it as raw data, neutral, objective, and incredibly valuable. Imagine a scientist in a laboratory conducting an experiment. When a chemical reaction doesn't produce the expected result, the scientist doesn't fall into a depression or conclude that they are a bad scientist. Instead, they record the result, analyze the variables, and adjust the formula. This is the feedback loop of high achievers. In this framework, failure is simply a diagnostic tool that identifies gaps in your strategy, timing, or skill set. It is the universe's way of saying, not this way, but try that way. By removing the emotional weight of shame, you free up the cognitive resources necessary to solve the problem at hand. Furthermore, failure is the only authentic path to mastery. There is a profound difference between theoretical knowledge and the wisdom gained through trial and error. You can read 1,000 books on leadership, but you won't truly understand it until you make a decision that backfires and have to navigate the consequences. This earned wisdom is what builds intuition. When we redefine failure as a prerequisite for success rather than the opposite of it, we stop trying to avoid it at all costs. We begin to see that the road to excellence is paved with corrected mistakes. Every no brings you closer to a yes, and every breakdown is a precursor to a breakthrough, provided you have the courage to keep your eyes open during the process. 2. Separate your identity from your outcome. The psychological trap of identity fusion with our results is perhaps the single greatest barrier to long-term success. When we say, "I am a failure," instead of, "I failed at this task," we are making a categorical error that stunts our evolution. Yourself is the vessel, the observer, and the operator. It is not the product. When your self-worth is tethered to the fluctuating ticker tape of your daily wins and losses, your internal world becomes a roller coaster of anxiety. On good days, your ego is overinflated. On bad days, your spirit is crushed. Separating your identity from your outcomes allows you to maintain a steady internal compass, regardless of the external weather. Successful people maintain a healthy ego detachment. This doesn't mean they don't care about winning. It means they don't let a loss define their humanity. Think of an athlete who misses a game-winning shot. If they internalize that miss as a core identity trait, they will be too paralyzed by fear to take the shot the next time. But if they view the miss as a mechanical or situational error, they can return to the gym, practice 10,000 more shots, and come back with increased confidence. By viewing yourself as a work in progress rather than a finished product, you give yourself the grace to be imperfect. This grace is what allows for the bold action necessary to achieve anything of significance. When you finally decouple your personhood from your performance, you unlock a superpower, the ability to take risks without the fear of ego death. Most people play small because they are protecting their image. They would rather not try than try and be seen failing. But when you realize that your value as a human being is intrinsic and cannot be diminished by a business bankruptcy, a rejected manuscript, or a lost promotion, you become dangerous to the status quo. You become someone who can iterate rapidly, speak up in meetings, and pivot when necessary. You realize that you are the architect, not the building. And if the building falls, the architect is still there, ready to design something even more resilient. 3. Use failure as a teacher, not a punishment. The transition from victimhood to ownership begins when we stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" Using failure as a teacher requires a high degree of intellectual honesty and the rejection of the blame game. It is easy to point toward the economy, a toxic boss, or bad luck as the reason for a setback. While those factors may exist, they are outside of your control and therefore offer no path to growth. When you treat failure as a mentor, you look inward. You conduct an after-action review of your own behavior. This is not about self-flagellation or punishment. It is about rigorous self-improvement. To learn from failure, one must develop the habit of active reflection. This involves breaking down a setback into its constituent parts. Was the failure due to a lack of preparation? Was it a failure of communication? Or perhaps it was a failure of vision? By asking these better questions, you transform a painful experience into a curriculum for your future self. This process turns pain into progress. The sting of a mistake is often the only thing sharp enough to pierce our pride and force us to pay attention. In this sense, failure is the most honest teacher you will ever have. It doesn't flatter you. It gives you the unvarnished truth about where you currently stand. Moreover, the lessons learned in the trenches of failure are often the ones that stick for a lifetime. Success can be a poor teacher because it often tricks us into thinking our methods are perfect, even when we might have just been lucky. Failure, however, forces a deep dive into mechanics. It demands that you develop new skills and sharpen existing ones. When you embrace this mentorship, you stop seeing setbacks as punishments from the universe. Instead, you see them as a form of tough love, a necessary refinement process that is preparing you for the weight of the success you claim to want. You are being forged, and the heat of failure is what makes the steel strong. 4. Build resilience through repeated setbacks. Resilience is not a trait you are born with. It is a psychological muscle that is built through the repetitive lifting of heavy challenges. Just as physical muscles require microscopic tears to grow back stronger, your character requires the tears of setbacks to develop grit. Every time you face a disappointment and choose to move forward anyway, you are performing a rep of resilience. Over time, these experiences thicken your skin and increase your adversity quotient. You begin to realize that you are far more durable than you previously imagined. The things that used to devastate you now merely annoy you because you have a history of overcoming much worse. This internal fortification is why easy wins are often a trap. When everything goes right on the first try, you learn nothing about your own capacity to endure. You become fragile. The first time a real storm hits, you are likely to capsize because you haven't built the hull of your ship to withstand pressure. Repeated setbacks, however, train you to navigate uncertainty. They teach you how to regulate your nervous system when things go wrong. You learn that discomfort is not a signal to quit, but a signal that you are operating at your current limit. By staying in the fight, you push that limit further out, expanding your comfort zone until it encompasses what others would find unbearable. The transformation that happens beneath the surface during a struggle is often more important than the goal itself. We focus so much on the destination that we miss the fact that the journey is turning us into the kind of person who can actually sustain the destination. If you were given $1 million business or a high-pressure leadership role without having built the resilience to handle the inevitable failures that come with them, you would crumble instantly. The setbacks are the training ground. They are the filter that separates those who merely want the prize from those who have become worthy of it. Resilience is the quiet confidence that says, I have been here before, and I know how to find my way out. 5. Turn failure into fuel for your comeback. The final stage of mastering failure is alchemy, the ability to turn the lead of disappointment into the gold of motivation. Frustration is a high-octane energy source, but most people let it leak out through complaining or self-pity. If you can instead channel that energy into your work, you create a comeback momentum that is nearly unstoppable. There is a specific kind of focus that comes from having your back against the wall. When you have failed in the eyes of others, you are often freed from the burden of their expectations. You have nothing left to lose, which makes you the most dangerous person in the room. You can use that rejection to sharpen your discipline and prove the doubters wrong. A comeback story is not just about returning to where you were, it is about reaching a height you couldn't have achieved without the fall. The fuel of failure provides the why that sustains you during the long hours of the grind. When you remember the sting of being overlooked or the embarrassment of a public mistake, use it as a reminder of why you are working so hard to refine your craft. This isn't about bitterness, it's about using the emotional intensity of the moment to drive deliberate practice. The energy you once wasted on regretting can now be invested into rebuilding. Every hour spent in the lab or at the desk becomes a brick in a foundation that is much stronger than the one that cracked before. Ultimately, your comeback starts the second you decide that your story isn't over. Failure is a chapter, not the book. When you commit to growth instead of perfection, you stop being paralyzed by the possibility of things going wrong. You realize that even if you fall again, you know how to get up, you know how to learn, and you know how to use the debris of the collapse to build something better. This mindset turns you into an anti-fragile being, someone who actually thrives and grows because of volatility and stress. Your greatest success won't be in spite of your failures, but because of them. The world loves a comeback, and yours is currently being written in the way you respond to today's challenges. Failure is not your enemy, it's your foundation. Every setback you've experienced is shaping the person you're becoming. The question isn't whether you'll fail again. You will. The real question is whether you'll let failure stop you or build you. Choose growth, choose resilience, choose persistence. Because success isn't built on flawless victories, it's built on lessons learned, courage regained, and the refusal to give up. If this message resonated with you, stay committed to your journey. Your breakthrough may be closer than you think.